Thank you very much. I'd like to start by saying thanks to Mark and Catherine and the rest of the Zebra team for a fantastic event. It's been an amazing couple of days here in Prague. And I'm thrilled at a personal level to be asked to come and present on behalf of Peak. I've been working with the guys for well over 10 years, and I am one of those people that also have been saying this year is going to be the year of RFID. And I'm going to continue to say it because I genuinely believe we're seeing that growth trajectory. Some other thanks, I'd like to thank Stryker for joining us today as well to help co-present. I'm going to do a little talk about what we do as a company with Peak, but also what we do from a customer perspective, and some tough facts to follow today. I'd like to call out Rachel for absolutely smashing her presentation. It was absolutely fantastic. A very serious subject and delivered in a really humorous way, which is very, very hard to do. And I think if you're retiring from healthcare, you'll definitely have an industry as a stand-up comedian, because that was brilliant. It was delivered really, really well. My name's Simon Fleming, Director of Innovation for Peak Tech. I've been with Peak Tech since 2014. I cover off lots of different solutions, RFID being one. We sell a lot of machine vision. We sell a lot of RFID. We sell a lot of AI solutions, and I'll cover a couple of them in a few minutes. And AI, we've talked about it all day and for the last couple of days, and there's lots of use cases. It works extremely well, and I'll continue to sell it as long as it keeps making me look 10 years younger in my profile pictures. So Peak Technologies, we are the largest provider of supply chain solutions in our industry. We will be Zebra Technologies' largest partner globally as well, and we help design, deliver, and manage on behalf of our customer base. You can see we've well over 12,000 active customers across the globe, and we are very, very strong in retail, transport and logistics, and personally manufacturing. In Ireland, about 90% of all medical devices come from Ireland. So we have a huge expertise in the medical device industry, and I'll talk a little bit more about them later. In terms of global footprint, we're based out of Littleton in the US. I'm going to show you a video in a couple of minutes of our new executive briefing center, which is fantastic, covers all of the different Zebra Technologies hardware that we do across the industry. And in terms of a European footprint, we're headquartered in the UK, but we have offices in Ireland and Belgium and the Netherlands. We also have a smaller replica of the Executive Briefing Center in Littleton in those offices. So if anyone wants to come and see what we do from a technology perspective, feel free to reach out. We've also, one of our more recent acquisitions is we've opened an office in Peak in Australia, and we're expanding our global footprint all of the time.
This 60,000 square foot facility is uniquely designed for all of our clients to interact with all of our solutions in real time. Welcome to the Peak Technologies Executive Briefing Center.
When you visit the Executive Briefing Center, we have a fantastic space to host your customers to an experience that they will get nowhere else in the industry.
By just walking around the floors, they get to see technology that they would never see before. They get to have access to our subject matter experts.
We get to showcase all of our products, the complete portfolio from labels to our smart technologies.
RFID, RTLS, innovations in robotics, innovations in machine vision, and a full-service AI wrap around Peak Analytics that gives you full visibility to your supply chain activities and product lifecycle. If you come to this facility and spend a day with us, you'll accomplish more in a day than you would if you traveled around to a bunch of different original equipment providers.
Once a customer walks through our Experience Center, they have a very good idea of the products and services Peak can offer.
You just watch the clients, their faces, you just see it was all coming together for them.
And what we just showed you here is just a little bit of what we can do here at Peak Technologies to create new solutions for you and your customers.
To take advantage of this unique opportunity, contact your Peak sales representative.
and we welcome the opportunity to host you here at our Executive Briefing Center.
Okay, so some of those technologies that were referenced there, we have a Peak Asset Insight platform. Essentially, it's the hardware agnostic. We work with all of the vendors in this room, and it's basically to track any asset anywhere, whether it's inside the four walls of your supply chain or outdoor in the field. And we do that with a wide variety of technologies. I won't go into them all. You're all industry experts. You know the difference between UHF and ultra-wideband and BLE and the different use cases. But we have tagged pretty much anything you can imagine. Totes, trays, roll cages, anything that goes missing within inside the four walls, and externally outside the four walls as well. So we talked about it earlier on. How do you lose large assets? How do you lose a car? How do you lose a forklift truck? How do you lose a skip? These are huge items that go missing continually, and you wonder, you know, how can they go missing? So interestingly, we worked with a local charity in London, and they were losing clothes bins. You know, the big clothes bank that you put your clothing in. And you know, when I heard it, I thought, how the hell can you lose a giant clothes bin that weighs a ton? But because it's obviously has a value, it's got a scrap value. They get stolen, they get cut down. So we worked with them to tag every single clothes bin across London to stop theft. In the manufacturing space, similarly, tracking assets, locate and find. We talked about surgeries very seriously. Another use case that we worked with an aircraft manufacturer, and they lose items. And if you leave behind a screwdriver, and it's not a human or inside a human, but if you leave it inside an aircraft or an aircraft engine, it's a big, big problem. So RFID is obviously a good use case for locate and find and making sure you're not leaving anything you shouldn't. Peak Analytics. So we've talked about Walmart quite a bit over the last couple of days. It's come up on various slides. I can't confirm or deny if this is Walmart, but this particular customer, they are the first major retailer to enforce RFID in their supply chain. And you wonder, you know, how do you go about doing that? Well, you go about doing it with Peak Analytics. So there's 1,200 scan tunnels across their entire supply chain. You'll all be familiar with what a scan tunnel is. Uses a combination of machine vision and RFID, and it allows them to essentially bill their suppliers, so through vendor chargebacks. So this platform generates millions in revenue for this customer, and it allows them to bill the customer because they're sending packets that they shouldn't be sending. They're sending incomplete packages, they're sending damaged packages. The machine vision cameras will take a picture of that box, and it will give you a historical view if it's been damaged, if it's a tire that it shouldn't be, it should be a box instead of tires. So it'll identify the items and analyze the condition of those. And then when they do bill their suppliers, they have the historical view of that item to know exactly where it is at any one time within their supply chain. And machine vision is only so good. You can only see the outside of the box. With RFID, it obviously allows you to see what's inside that box as well. The next phase of that, with that particular customer, is, you would have seen this in the video in Littleton. Again, it's machine vision, but at a dock door. So we talked about control points earlier on. It was mentioned in slides. These are all control points where you're controlling data and you're controlling actions. So as a forklift truck with a pallet passes through that dock door, you're getting your historical view, you're getting your damage detection, you're making sure the right pallet is going through the right dock door onto the right truck. Now, machine vision, very, very expensive. So what we've done is that same use case, but with the ATR 7000. So real-time locating at a dock door, knowing the direction, knowing that the correct pallet is going through the correct door at the right time. And again, if it's the wrong pallet, you'll see the light stacks, they'll flash red and say, this is the wrong door for this item. We've just won a major deal with Ford and Rivian. They're also implementing this at their dock door for dock door control. Very, very slick system and very cost effective. To give you an overview of the platform that I've mentioned, I won't go into too much detail because there's lots of other platforms outside, and you guys know the ins and outs of software and how it works and the benefits. So it does asset tracking, inventory management, shipment tracking. With an app, you can do the locate and find. And what I want to talk about today, along with Stryker, who are going to come up on stage in a second, is the RFID project that we're involved in, doing the work in progress and locate and find. So Stryker came to us a long time ago, and they wanted to track knee joints. So they manufacture the knee joints. As I mentioned, they're also used by Hull in that surgery process. Now, it's not open heart surgery, but it's obviously a very, very seriously complex process. So those knee joints are manufactured in Limerick, and the guys had an issue with locating lost items. So they were spending a huge amount of time every year looking for lost items, and they weren't lost. They just were in the production facility, but obviously it takes time and effort to look for those items. So if you have a look at the totes and the trolleys, each one of those totes contains knee joints, and they wanted to track the actual knee joint itself. So when we did testing, we tested on a knee joint, and everyone knows that the knee joints are made of metal, so it's very, very difficult to tag. So we thought, right, knee joints, we're not going to get 100% accuracy. It's going to be very, very difficult. We have to look at alternatives. So we thought, well, do we tag the tote? But it turns out the tote didn't always travel with the knee. So we had to find something else that was used that always goes with the knee joint. So the guys have a process which uses a router, which is a paper-based document, travels with the knee joint throughout the entire production facility. They were already using a Zebra printer for that process. So we thought, right, that's the easiest challenge, is we'll implement an RFID label printer. The process will stay the same. The only difference is, and it was mentioned a few minutes ago about the integration, once the asset is printed, is encoded, there's a CSV file that is uploaded because no one wants to do API integration, too much hassle, and this works flawlessly. We've implemented the ST5500 transition readers throughout different points within the facility. You can see that's an image of their facility over on the right from when it first went live. They're currently tracking about 21,000 items with this system, and it's really, really narrowed down the time that it takes to look for an item because they know on the system which area it's in. They walk into that area, they use the wand, as I'm now forever going to call it, and I'll always think of you when wanding. Yeah, so, and one of the main benefits was actually the wand, MC3300R, absolute fantastic piece of kit, and the ZBR tags as well. So it's been fantastic, and it's been in place now for, I'm going to say 3 or 4 years, and we're still supporting it today. It's one that's very, very close to me. When I started off on this project, I was technical architect. I was the guy doing, the boots on the ground, designed it from the ground up, spec'd it, worked with Sryker really closely, worked with our IT teams. I built the AWS server. I worked closely with Zebra, getting it off the ground and getting it functional. And yeah, it's been stable ever since. So I'm going to welcome up Damian to the stage to talk a bit more. There you go.
So good morning, good afternoon, probably at this stage. My name is Damian Cahill. I'm an operations manager with Stryker in Limerick. And I'm just going to go through a couple of slides of our interactions and our positive experiences with Simon and Peak Technologies and when we brought in the RFID scanning into Limerick a couple of years ago. So just a couple of slides first on introduction into Stryker. We're a leading medical technology company. We've got roughly 50 production sites across the globe. Customer, very, very important to us. Our products that we make significantly improve our customers' lives. And we're big. We sell, last year, with sales of over 22 billion worldwide. Stryker Limerick is where I'm from. It's one of the plants in Ireland. We roughly have 1,000 employees working in Stryker Limerick. roughly 700 of those are manufacturing operators who would be working on the floor on a day-to-day basis and would have interaction with the RFID scanning. I don't think I'll be using the wand term back in Limerick. I don't think it'll fly. We call it the RFID gun, and I think it'll the wand won't come into use. Our power brand in Stryker Limerick is the Triathlon Knee system. So there might be people in here who already have a Triathlon knee, or if you don't, I'm sure you would know people in your families who would have had a knee replacement surgery, and good chance it could be a Stryker knee. We have about 2,500 SKUs of different products that we make in Limerick. So we launch about 50,000 units every single day. And it takes about 30 days for that product to get through the whole production line. And when you count all that in, we roughly have over 20 million of whip in use every single day. And that's why we went out looking for a system. That's why we went looking with Simon and Peak Technologies. It's not like in retail where somebody might be stealing product. The knee is no good to anybody, but it still goes missing. And it wasn't being stolen, but yet within our facility somehow every single day we could not find product. And that caused us real-time problems every single day. So just on that, we've got 20,000 live routers. Those routers on the floor any one time, and it was a problem trying to locate them. So before it came in, what we had a lot of issues with slow-moving batches. So batches that could not be found in real time. We had operators every single day going out trying to find these batches. If they couldn't find the batches in a real time, we had to put a whip reserve on them, i.e. there was a risk that we couldn't find them. They might have been scrapped off the system, so there was a cost. And ultimately, if we couldn't find them, we may have to scrap them off the system, knowing that there was someplace on the floor, but we couldn't find them. So if we couldn't find them, they were no good to us. And then at year end, we had to do a physical inventory. If we couldn't account for them, we scrapped them off the line. So there was cost, there was time, and there was also customer impact, because if we couldn't find these batches, if they weren't the right families for the customers, we weren't able to supply. We could be in back order, and we had to relaunch the product at the start of the line. So it was a real issue. Post RFID scanning, slow moving is now under control. We don't have a slow moving problem in Limerick. Every batch can be found within minutes of it being created. If we can't find it, the only reason is the RFID scanner was never attached in the first place, the label. If the label was attached, the batch will be found. The whip reserve, it is no longer an issue having to put whip reserve on batches. The batches will be found, so there's no cost. It's a cost saving to the business. And at the end of the year, every November, at the end of November, we do a full cycle count. In past years, we would have to have cycled off substantial money knowing that batches couldn't be found. That's no longer an issue. It's in control every month, so there is no issue at the end of the year where we have to cycle anything off. So it's been a real positive experience. And even after listening to the slides for the last couple of days, it kind of feels like me. I don't know if anyone knows the old Ron Seal ad, the paint ad. It does what it says on the tin. Well, that's what RFID scanning is for me. It came in saying, if you have a label on the batch, you use the RFID gun, you're going to find that batch. And that's exactly what it's done for us on a day-to-day basis. Once the label is on the batch, we find it. So it's been really positive for Stryker Limerick. So thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.